Members of Kenyan civil society say state agencies in the country may have been behind the murder of a senior electoral commission official whose remains were found in a mortuary on Monday, 3 days after his disappearance. The activists held a protest in Nairobi on Tuesday to demand speedy investigations into the murder of Chris Msando, Kenya's Independent Elections and Boundaries Commission Information, Communications and Technology Post. Meanwhile, police in Kenya say security for all electoral commissioners will be enhanced following Msando's murder. This even, of course, as the US and the UK governments offered support in helping finding the officials' killers. Kenya goes to the polls on Tuesday next week. Let's take a look at this report compiled by Kimani.
Justice for Msando, justice!
A week to Kenya's general election, members of the civil society poured onto the streets of the capital, Nairobi, demanding for answers on the mysterious disappearance and eventual murder of a senior official of the Electoral Commission.
Regardless of the motivations of those who did it, the net result has been the same. You could feel the shock across the country yesterday because of the gruesomeness of the murder and also how critical this particular individual was in the management of our election process.
We hope the government of Kenya will accept the offers that will make the investigation credible of external investigative forces.
Waving placards and chanting slogans, the protesters marched to the Commission's offices to express their solidarity with the team. Here, they made their demands for enhanced security for the commissioners, but also pointed an accusing finger on the government.
Many Kenyans believe elements within or close to the state to be responsible for this murder.
Msando was in charge of Kenya's electronic voter system, seen as crucial in stemming electoral fraud. His death has raised fears of violence during the hotly contested elections due next week. The commission chairman put up a brave face.
This country is bigger than all of us. We have a mandate to deliver to the Kenyan people. We must deliver an election come the 8th of August this year. Yes, we are mourning, but we are working at the same time, and we must deliver on our mandate.
In a country where political competition heightens anxiety and tensions, the Electoral Commission is seen as key in delivering a free, fair and credible election. Elections observers have pointed to this as vital elements for peace after the elections. Chebukati allayed fears that the IEBC's system had been compromised following the torture and murder of Msando. Kimani, SABC News, Kenya.
All right, and for more on the run-up to the elections in Kenya, we cross live to our SABC News East African correspondent, Kimani. Sarah, it's a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. As we have seen on the insert that civil society activists held a protest in Nairobi yesterday, talk to us about the impact that Msando's death could have on the upcoming elections.
Well, the Electoral Commission is trying to allay fears that Msando's death will affect the outcome of the election. However, he was key because he has been the one who's been appearing on TV stations, the one who's been attending meetings on the electronic voter tally system and also the transmission system. Now, this is a very important system because during the 2013 elections, the electronic tally system partially failed, and that is what brought the contestations by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who was the opposition presidential candidate. There was also allegations of ballot stuffing, there was allegations of fraud, and all those were meant now to be dealt with this new system that Msando was in charge of. Of course, the Electoral Commission is saying there are other people who can deal with it, and so they're trying to say that the process is still rig-free. However, it has sent fears across the country, and especially among the electoral commissioners.
Yeah, and we've also seen President Kenyatta accusing opposition leader Raila Odinga of trying to divide the nation. And on the other hand, Odinga himself accusing Kenyatta of planning to rig the polls. Talk to us about the general feel of the Kenyans on the ground.
Well, it's just 6 days to elections, and so as you expect, there's heightened tensions, there is excitement. On the one hand, the opposition has consistently accused the Electoral Commission of plot to rig the election, of not being ready, and also that they may be compromised by the establishment. However, President Kenyatta on the other side has insisted that the commission should be given time to do its work and should be given the support that it needs needs. This is one of the issues also that came out during the press conference with former President Mbeki, who is leading the African Union Election Observer Mission to Kenya. He said that although the Electoral Commission may have its failings, every side of the political divide must give it time to be able to deliver.
Yeah, and recently, Sarah, gunmen attacked Kenya's deputy president's residence as he campaigns, of course, ahead of the elections. Have tension perhaps risen between government and opposition parties?
It's not just between government and the opposition party. We have seen in some areas of the country, people moving up country, those who live in the cities moving up country. When you speak to them, a lot of them are saying they fear that there may be violence after the elections. In some areas of the country, people have actually been threatened and asked to move if they're seen to support one party or the other side of the political divide. In other parts of the country, leaflets have actually been thrown and people wake up and find a certain community is being asked to move out of the area. Because in Kenya, elections are mainly along, not mainly political parties, but ethnic lines. So you'll find that President Kenyatta's tribe and Deputy President's tribe will automatically support the Jubilee Party, which is a ruling coalition. And then Prime Minister Raila Odinga's party will be supported by people from his community and many of those who are part of the political party.
Yeah, and on the other hand, we've also seen fake news reports circulating on social media. How is this impacting on the general preparations of the elections?
Well, the social media has been key this time in the elections. And in fact, you find both the political parties and the Electoral Commission has spent a lot of time rebutting statements and fake news that is being relayed through social media. The National Cohesion Committee has also had to say that it is following WhatsApp administrators, it is following Facebook pages and certain Twitter handles for hate speech, for spreading malicious rumors, just in a bid to try and see if they can be able to control what is coming out and also to reduce the tensions that are in the country right now.
Yeah, and going back a little bit to Msando's death, we've also seen a joint statement, Sarah, the ambassadors of the United States and Britain saying that they were very much concerned by the matter and they also offered assistance. Have there been any response maybe from the Kenyan government in terms of accepting assistance from the UK?
Well, the Kenyan government has not responded on whether it will accept the assistance from the FBI and the Scotland Yard. But what we know is that yesterday President Kenyatta said that the electoral commissioners will be getting more security. And he also said that he needs the Kenyan police to move with speed to see that the killers of Msando are brought to book.
These elections are not just important to the Kenyans, of course, but they're important for the region as a whole. Talk to us about the importance of these elections, not just to the Kenyans, not just to the African continent, but to the world in general. All right, it looks like we've lost Sarah there, but we have indeed covered a whole lot of other issues. As we said, the Kenyans will be going to the elections next week, Tuesday. So this is, of course, a story that we'll be keeping a very close eye on here on SABC News. Sarah Kimani is our correspondent from East Africa and joining us live from Kenya, talking to us, of course, about the elections. Let's take a break here on Morning Live. 7 o'clock news bulletin will follow.